So how do you actually measure leadership? I mean, it feels like one of those things you know it when you see it, right? But what if you could actually track it, improve it, and prove its value with cold, hard data? Okay, let's dive into this and figure out how to do exactly that.
The biggest problem has always been that leadership feels, well, abstract. It's a quality, an energy, not a simple number you can pop into a spreadsheet. Or is it? We often struggle to put a finger on what makes someone a truly effective leader, and that makes it incredibly tough to develop more of them on purpose.
When you ask this question, what comes to mind? Probably things like charisma, vision, maybe inspiration. But in the business world, we usually just default to measuring the results, sales figures, production output. The problem is, those numbers, they don't even come close to telling the whole story. In fact, things like profit and revenue are what we call lagging indicators. They tell you what happened in the past. They're like looking in the rearview mirror. They don't tell you if your leadership is actually building a strong foundation for the future or if they're just burning out their team to hit a quarterly target.
This right here shows a huge shift in thinking. Instead of only looking backward at things like profit margins, we start looking forward. We start asking predictive questions, like, is the team actually healthy and motivated? And maybe most importantly, are we developing the talent we're going to need 2, 5, or even 10 years down the road?
So, how do we get this forward-looking view? Well, the solution is to build a leadership dashboard that's powered by key performance indicators, or KPIs. Think of it just like the dashboard in your car. I mean, you wouldn't drive by only looking at your speed, right? Of course not. You also need to know your fuel level, your engine health, and where you're headed.
A leadership KPI is really simple. It's just a measurable value that helps us see how a leader is performing in those really critical areas. It basically turns those abstract qualities into objective data points, which gives us a much, much clearer picture of what's actually going on. So why even bother with all this? Well, it's because these KPIs allow us to move beyond just gut feelings and opinions. We can objectively measure how effective a leader is, we can track their growth over time, and, this is absolutely crucial, we can see if our bench of future leaders is actually strong enough to take us where we need to go. Now, to make this dashboard practical, we can't just have a random list of metrics thrown together. We need some structure. So we're going to break all of this down into 4 distinct but totally interconnected dimensions of leadership performance. This is what gives us that holistic 360-degree view. We're combining 4 really key areas: a leader's ability to build for the future, that's potential and pipeline, their impact on the team right now, people and culture, their personal commitment to improving themselves, that's growth and development, and finally, how it all connects back to the bottom line with business impact. All right, let's start with the first dimension, potential and pipeline. This is all about a leader's ability to build the next generation. A great leader doesn't just lead, they create more leaders. And we can track this with 2 really important metrics. First, succession coverage, which basically means, do we have someone ready to step up if a key person leaves? And second, the internal promotion rate. A high rate here is a powerful, powerful sign that a leader is successfully growing talent right from within their own team. Next up, people and culture. This dimension really measures the kind of environment a leader creates. Are they building a team that's energized, engaged, and effective? Or is it a place with high turnover and low morale? So here, we look at things like the employee engagement score, which you usually get from surveys. Think of it like a vital sign for the team's overall health. And we also look at the team performance index. So the question becomes, is this leader's team consistently performing at a high level and getting things done? Now for dimension 3, growth and development. This one's a little different because it actually focuses on the leader themselves. The best leaders out there are constant learners. They model the exact behavior they want to see in their people. We can track this with metrics like a learning agility score, which is just a way to assess how well a leader adapts and applies new skills. A simpler metric is just the training completion percentage. Is the leader actually showing up and participating in the development opportunities the company offers? And finally, we tie it all together with dimension 4, business impact. This is where we connect all that great leadership activity back to tangible, bottom-line results for the whole organization. This is really where the magic happens. We can calculate the actual return on investment for our leadership programs. And even more powerfully, we can measure the reduction in employee turnover. We all know it's incredibly expensive to lose good people, and this KPI proves that strong leadership directly saves the company money, period. Okay, so we've got our 4 dimensions and our KPIs. But listen,
A dashboard is totally useless if it just sits there and no one ever looks at it. So how does this become a living, breathing system inside a company?
The process is actually very straightforward. It's just a simple, repeating cycle. First, you collect the data. Then, on a regular basis, let's say quarterly or annually, you review that data to see how you're doing. And most importantly, you use those insights to create real plans for continuous improvement.
And this isn't some mystical secret process. The data for these KPIs, it probably already exists in your company. It's living right there in your HR systems, in your employee surveys, in 360-degree feedback reviews, and in your performance management platforms. It's really just a matter of pulling it all together in one place.
So after all of this, the dashboard, the dimensions, the data, it really all boils down to one final, incredibly powerful question that every single organization needs to be asking itself.
This is the key. This is the whole ball game. Are your metrics truly giving you a clear view of your leader's ability to grow, to prepare the next generation, and to actually drive the business forward? Because if the answer is no, or I'm not sure, then you're basically flying blind.
Ultimately, measuring leadership isn't just some boring HR exercise. It's about shaping the entire future of your organization. Because the leaders you build today are the ones who will determine where your company is tomorrow. So, what does your answer to that question say about your company's future?